think ministry is real effective is maybe not being a mass market ministry type thing. It would be where you're developing key relationships with kids one at a time.
My hope would be that the leadership of the church would be open-handed with their youth pastor. And what I mean by that means is that if we're closed-handed saying just meet with my kids, you know, we're paying you to minister to our kids, then my fear is that they're missing a huge opportunity to go further, you know, into the kingdom, you know, for the sake of the kingdom.
But I think with Graham, by his presence there, it's kind of drawn a segment of kids that probably just would not go to Young Life.
And what we're going to do is we're going to build relationships with high school kids, so you got to go where they are. He didn't know Young Life, but he knew relational ministry. It's building friendship with high school kids, and therefore crossing that bridge of friendship with the gospel.
So you hear so much about the unchurched, the numbers that are out there, and what we need to do. Let's plant a church here, let's plant a church there, and da-da-da. And all that's great. But what's out there is you have a whole society, you have a whole culture that's not effectively being reached.
Jake Lowe, young man from Sullivan South High School. They're playing here at our school one Friday night. Not this past season, but the one before, so I guess that'd be the 2009 season. Tragically collapsed on the 5-yard line as we're going in for a score. You know, when that first happened, you kind of think it was just an injury or whatever, but it turns into that night was a night that you know, we'll never forget. I'll never forget that night the rest of my life.
You saw him fall, and no big deal. Just, you know, players fall and players get hurt the whole 9 yards. But the thing about this one is he didn't get up. So we're looking, you know, what's the next play, and we're in the huddle. This guy, Jake Lowe, doesn't get up.
Graham was there immediately, you know, because he's always on the sideline, you know, cheering us on. But as soon as he went down, and as soon as, you know, Graham usually prays for people that goes down for a long period of time. But when they broke out the paddles to revive him, you know, he prayed for us, you know, he prayed for them. And then, you know, afterwards, me and a few others looked at each other and went, let's go meet up with the other team, because they were crying. They were, you know, they were devastated as well. So me and a few others led the entire football team and the sidelines to their sidelines. We all got together, and Graham got in the center and prayed for both sides, and prayed for Jake Lowe and his family and everybody else that was there.
But next thing I know is that everybody's looking at me, and I hear, Graham, let's pray. Pray. Just pray. Graham, get everybody together. Pray.
You know, they've already taken a knee and prayed once, and I remember saying, Graham, we got to have you right now, and you need to get these kids and be in constant prayer here for a while. And man, he just took over. And then the other team came and joined us. And so it's Sullivan South's team, our team, all the coaches, managers, and trainers, and whatnot that's not involved with what's happening with Jake, on a knee about the 50-yard line, facing our field house, away from what's happening with Jake. And Graham, you know, was just standing over everybody, and that was such a, you know, looking back now, I can't imagine Graham not being there. We had a memorial the next morning, on Saturday morning, that I didn't do. The kids got together and did it. Of course, Graham came and prayed as well.
The thing for me that I saw the impact with Graham at this school and with this team in particular with football, we had a kid who actually I coached as an 8th grader, a kid named DeMonte Bledsoe, a kid who was on the team as a freshman. Unfortunately, he got kicked off the team, but he ended up getting shot early in the year. And what for me did it and solidify how Graham's impact is, there's a couple kids on that team, the first person they called was Graham.
What the gift that was given to me with my relationship with those two guys is that morning, the morning after DeMonte was shot and killed, I was able to pick them up, and we were able to go straight to the church at Apostles Anglican Church. And they, along with me, were on our knees at the altar to lift us up in prayer to Jesus.
And so there again, we're faced again 2 years in a row with something. Even though he wasn't directly a part of our team at the time, he was very much, in our thoughts. And when he got shot and killed, once again, there's Graham for us, and then Graham's there to kind of be that sense of calm and to let us know that, hey, God's, we don't understand it, and maybe we're not supposed to.
When you showed up, literally at 9:30 and this 10:45 service, and you said, I want to accept Jesus Christ, my Lord, my Savior, at the church in front of everybody.
Because Graham just, like I say, he's my best friend. I trust him with my life, So after that, I was really interested in it. One day, he brought me to the church again, and I was said that I want to be saved. I wanted to do this. So he did it for me, and according to him, I was the first person that he ever did it to, which was a big deal to me because he's my best friend. And, him doing this for me was a big honor. And then after that, he bought me a Bible, and I loved it, man. I mean, I started reading it right off the bat, as soon as I got home. And I was like, what are you doing? And I'm reading the Bible Graham got me, and I still have it to this day. There's not a mark on it, just put it up there. Because I'll keep that for the rest of my life. That was one of the biggest gifts I've ever received.
It changed a lot of things on how I feel, how I look at things. Like, I've noticed the difference between me and my dad a lot. We used to get in a lot of arguments, fights, and now it's changed a lot. We don't get near as much arguments and stuff. My mom's actually not worried about us anymore.
I have a personal experience with Graham. My son dealt with a lot of injuries this season, and this was his coming out year, and a lot of disappointment. He played the first game and had 2 touchdowns. Then he was injured the next couple games and came back, and then when he came back finally again, Graham was one of those guys who was behind the scenes. I found out later that was giving him encouragement, not just from a football kind of thing, but from a, I would say, spiritual.
The reality of it is I think kids will be honest and relate more to their coaches than maybe they will their parents. Well, even more so, they'll relate and tell somebody and really truly talk to somebody that is not a coach nor their parent, but a mentor type person.
But this last 2 years, he's built such friendships with the coaches and the parents that it's taken him 3 years to get probably where I haven't even gotten 8 in 8 years of being here. And that's because of his consistency of being present and intentional. To not just make friends with high school kids, but build friendships with their parents, obviously, because they earn the trust of their parents, especially with the kids, typically kids he hangs out with. Because they're open-handed. They're going, we trust you, Graham. You take my son. Take him anywhere you want. I trust you. And with the football coach is the same way. He's built a friendship and a trust that they want him around.
And I see him as an extension of the program. I really do. There are some things that coaches can't do. They're limited. Just like there are some things that parents can't do. But he's there. And I see him as being the cohesiveness there, the glue.
We've already been doing some things. I look around, I can't find Graham. Well, he's got one of our kids, and don't know what they were talking about, but they were just sitting down in the bleachers and discussing something. It was intense. It was, but to have that ability and the trust of that kid, that during his school break, sometimes the football players would come up here on Friday and he wanted to sit down with Graham and talk about something.
And so there's a sense of when there's a church that's open-handed with their, I think maybe with all their staff, from the head pastor down, to go to the community and present the gospel. That's what happens, and that's what y'all have done in your church. You've said, here, this is our youth pastor, and he's gonna meet with our kids. But if he just meets with our kids, then he's not doing his job. He needs to go, go and make disciples of all nations, and not just in the walls of our church, but down at West High School or Bearden High School or whatever high school or middle schools around.
Jesus, oh poor Jesus, all I am and have and ever hope to be. So